Welcome to a NitroCell educational video. Today we're focused on the NitroCell edition for Microsoft Dynamics HQ. The NitroCell eCommerce HQ edition components map logically with the Microsoft Dynamics HQ components. The NitroCell Get Web Orders is a custom POS application that allows web orders to be processed at the store within the HQ chain that has been designated to process web orders. This can be the warehouse or indeed co-located at the HQ location. A dedicated NitroSync also runs at the web store location and is configured only to download web orders from the web store into the local store operations database. At the headquarters, a full NitroSync application is installed and keeps all item, customer, and chain configuration data fully synchronized between the HQ database and the web store database running on the NitroCell eCommerce clusters. Note that the web orders are not downloaded into the HQ database. The NitroCell Product Attribute Manager acts as an extension to the headquarters manager and allows web store specific item data to be created and managed in a highly efficient manner. This data includes product images, extended descriptions, web discounts, special offers, etc. etc. Finally, the NitroCell web-based Web Store Manager does a similar job to the HQ Administrator in that it allows you to define the web store configuration and system-specific parameters. Now that we've reviewed the key HQ components and had an overview of the equivalent NitroCell components, it's time to see where these individual pieces of software are installed across a retail chain. HQ and HQ Administrator will be running at the HQ location, and this is where the NitroSync is installed to keep the HQ database synchronized with the web store. NitroPAM allows web store data, including product images, extended descriptions, web discounts, special offers, etc., to be created and managed. Also, the NitroCell Web Store Manager allows web store configuration and system-specific parameters to be defined and managed. One of the stores within the HQ chain must be designated to process web orders, and a dedicated NitroSync also runs at the web store location and is configured only to download web orders from the web store into the local store operations database. Now that we have seen where the individual components of the NitroCell eCommerce edition for HQ software are installed across a retail chain, we will now look at the software itself in action. HQ Manager is the key application when it comes to chain management. And for the purposes of this demo, we're going to look at the store setup and the item database. In the store setup, as this is the sample HQ database, there are 3 stores, one from California, one from New York, one from Fargo, and I've added a 4th in Maryland. Each of these stores has full address information, including the zip code. The item database itself is the sample database, and I've made very little changes for the purposes of this demo. We can access the store and WSM quickly and easily with these buttons. Clicking on the Visit My Web Store brings us to the web store where we can see we have a Store Locations tab. However, clicking on this shows it is not yet functional, so clearly we need to go to the WSM and check some configurations. You will note down the side the various configurations, and there's a new one which is multi-store. So by clicking on this tab, we can see the stores which have been synced from the HQ database up to the web store database. I am now going to enable store 1, 2, and 3, given that I have purchased licenses that will support up to 3 stores. So I'll save these changes and go back to my store locations and refresh this tab, and my store locations should now appear. Note that as well as address and telephone information, there's also a map link. NitroCell eCommerce comes bundled with powerful and automatic Google Maps integration, which I will demo later in this video. For now, let's get some product information from the RMS HQ database onto this web store to sell online. This can be done directly from the HQ Manager. Since I'm in maintenance mode, I can go directly to the item database, access an individual item in order to put it on the web. I click on Options and I tick Make Item Available on the web. I click OK, and that change has been made in the database. NitroSync will automatically synchronize this information according to a time schedule, but if I want to do it immediately, I can simply open the sync interface and click on Synchronize and watch that individual data along with its departments and categories and all other associated data go up to the web store. Once it's up there, I can go back to my web store and click on Refresh, and I will see that the store navigation is now populated with department and category information. If I click on the airline, we can see the product information is there. If I click on the product, basic information is there, and I can add it to the basket for online purchase. Notice there's no image. Images can be added in HQ Manager, but there's a far more powerful and easier way to do this with the NitroCell Product Attribute Manager. So I'll now launch this application, and if I sort by item lookup code, I can see that the remote control glider web item attribute is set to true, and there is no picture. I can choose a picture by simply dragging and dropping into this area, and more powerfully still, I can automatically search for images on the internet. I can limit this search to a specific, say, manufacturer's website by putting in URLs here. For demo purposes, I like the look of this image, so if I double click on this image and say use this picture, the software asks me to validate that I do indeed have rights to this. So if I say I agree, then that picture is automatically assigned. Now that this image has been applied to this item, I can commit these changes, which makes it permanent in the database. I now resync my store, which will happen automatically, but for web demo purposes, I'd like to see it up there. The image is resized, and according to an image profile which I have full control over. When I go back to my web store and refresh my page, you'll see I now have an image for this product. The Product Attribute Manager allows me to make mass changes. So for example, I'm going to copy the web item attribute and paste it to all rows. And I'll say yes, there's only 47 items in this database, and I'll commit those changes. And now when I synchronize, again, this would happen automatically, but for demo purposes, let's make it happen. And now when I refresh this, the effect should be that my store navigation now is fully populated with all images. And as you can see, all of the standard images are here. Okay, let's assume I'm a web customer interested in purchasing this large baby doll. So I can click on it and I get a nice image. I see that there's 101 in stock, which is the total amount registered in the HQ database. We can check that information in a moment, but I can also check stock in my local store. So I click on this link, and the drop-down list gives me the 3 stores that I enabled previously. So let's check the stock in the Californian store, and I can see there's 11 in stock. So let's see if this compares with the information that's in HQ. So I go into HQ, find my large baby doll. Here's my large baby doll. I see there's 101. And if I look at the store quantities, I can see that, yes, indeed, store 1, which is the Californian store, has 11 in stock. I'm interested in purchasing this, so the map link will be very useful in me figuring out exactly where the store is. And as you can see, this works very well. If I go back to the Web Store Manager configuration and go back into multi-store, I can see how easy it is to add my new store and make that stock available also on the web. So I simply click and say make it available and try and save my changes. But of course I'm limited by the number of licenses, so I probably would have to take off one of these ones. So let's try it anyway to see if the Maryland store works. So I save these changes. That seems to be done. I go back into my store and I go into my store locations again, and now we see we have a Maryland store. And indeed, will that appear properly on the map? And yes, it looks as if it's perfectly located on my map, making it easy for me as a customer to go ahead and purchase from this retailer.